Hey everyone, I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer, and welcome back to another video. So, occasionally Twitter sends me things, and I saw this thing called hashtag Save Siege on Twitter, and it was kind of interesting. It was started by Pengu, who, he made a 2 hour live stream pretty much outlining every single one of the more foundational, or most of them, the foundational problems with Rainbow Six Siege. So, not things like, is the ACOG overpowered or not, but things like, all right, this is broken. These operators aren't fun because of this, and this is how the game feels, and, fixing different things that are foundational, like why do we have all these events but not a training ground? Those are some hot topics in the community. And I just kind of wanted to talk about how I feel about that. Um, I've been playing Siege since it came out, like January 2016. So I didn't play the beta, but I've been playing Siege for a while. And I've always been either following the community, actively playing, not actively playing. Like I took about a year off from the game. And the reason why I took about a year off from the game is because to me, Siege has had its foundational problems, right? A lot of client side things like dead bodies that end up blocking your view, or the client side clutter, you know, client side barricade debris, all that kind of stuff. And it's always felt to me like an incomplete game. Siege, when you have a game like, let's just take Call of Duty for example, and they add in their DLC maps. What Call of Duty's always felt like, at least for the most part for me, is more of a complete game, and then each DLC adds on to it. Unless don't count the recent ones, not that. Or like Halo actually is a good example. Halo Reach. If you guys even remember Halo Reach, and it did in fact have DLC, Halo Reach was a very complete package. And then they brought in some DLC that added even more to the game, and it didn't feel like, you know, there was any foundational problems with Reach. I guess there might have been some. I don't know, because the game to me still feels exactly the same as it did, back in 2010. That ages me. But like Siege, I mean, Pengu pointed out, it seems like every season, every update, the SMG 11 recoil gets changed, or they're still kind of fixing this or that, or a lot of issues don't get fixed until we raise our voices enough about them. And I do feel that way. I don't know if it is that way, but I do feel that way a lot about, Siege. It's always felt like a new product, but an incomplete product. Something that we've always wanted, but it's still not all there. And I don't know, it's always felt that way to me. And everyone talking about hashtag save Siege, well, at least most of them, we care about Siege. And I think we're getting frustrated with Siege being a unique game, but feeling like a lower tier, underrated game, or not underrated, just a lower tier quality game than other games. One of the things that Pengu pointed out towards the very end of the live stream was, he's like, Fortnite has, even though it has, he said, like, young people playing it, and it's annoying, and a lot of it's got massive lighting, is the customization's really strong. And he said what Siege has going, Fortnite has that going for it. What Siege has going for it is it's a unique game with no competition, and that's how it feels. It really does. Coming from martial arts, that is definitely, I was kind of in that situation where our school was like the main school when I was training there for like local tournaments and stuff. We'd bring like 75% or 80% of the students that would go to these tournaments, and it sometimes felt like, well, yay, we got a bunch of first places. Why? Because we were competing against each other. Woo! Like, it felt like, just there could be more. It Siege has always felt like there could be more before they add their extra operators, and their extra content. Siege really feels like, to me, it's still an incomplete game, and I love this game. I want this game to do well, and they make a ton of money apparently. To have millions of dollars in the prize pools, but I just think like, I don't know. To me, it just seems like there's a lot of things that Siege could just add to it. It feels like just an alpha that they keep, not an alpha, more of a beta actually, that they keep adding things to, and it's like, where's my training grounds? I would really like a training mode. Not because I'm a professional, but because I don't even play PC shooters, right? I swapped to PC, and I like, it would be nice to have a training ground rather than do what some people do, which is buy CS:GO for the custom shooting ranges or buy aim trainer. Like, in what world is a game of Siege's caliber or perceived caliber should you have to buy or download another product because Siege lacks the ability to have this product? The training grounds. Siege lacks it. You got to buy CS:GO or get aim train or whatever you got to do. So it's really frustrating to me. And that was probably one of the reasons why I didn't really like to try to do good in this game. Why it always felt like you would be playing and playing and playing and playing, and then it always felt like eventually you'd have to start getting into these weird buggy angles, or know the glitches and know how to exploit them and know what to look for. Like, it felt like at some level you would go from just playing Rainbow Six Siege. This is in ranked, right? Like, you'd be playing Rainbow Six Siege, having a good old time, then you'd rank up high enough. Okay, now you got to start using glitches, using bugs. Oh, you didn't know that smoke canisters can go through walls? Well, too bad. Now you do. Like, why is it in the game? I didn't expect that. Like, things like that are just frustrating, and starting to have that very confined meta, and I think it hurts the game. It really does. And how much longer we can take this as a player base? I think the reason why Pengu said it's a hashtag save Siege versus hashtag fix Siege is because every day that this continues to go on, we as players and as the community are going to get more and more and more and more and more frustrated at the game. And eventually, that'll drive people to switch. Like, eventually, Siege isn't going to be fun. Like, I tell people, who maybe they want to go pro in video games, but they're like, man, I don't think Siege, I don't have enough time yet to go into Siege. I tell people, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, whenever you bought Siege and it became your number one game, it used to not be your number one game. If I look back to myself as a gamer, Call of Duty has been my number one game longer than Rainbow Six Siege has. Rainbow Six Siege has been my number one game for like 3 or 4 years, and I even took a whole freaking year off of that, so you can cut that off. Call of Duty, about 5 or 6. That's really how long Call of Duty has been. I've considered it to be like my number one game I want to get good at. So that's kind of like what we got to remember, is it's still a new thing. Just like how online content creation is starting to get normal for us, right? But I mean, YouTube's only been around for 15 years. It's not a long time, So that's kind of been my 2 cents on the topics. I really don't have anything else to add. Pengu outlined all of the issues that everyone in the Siege community pretty much brings up. If you want to, I'll link his video down in the description below. It's going to be the first link that you find after I write out my description. So, yeah, that's kind of what I want to say. How do you guys feel about it? I just kind of saw this on Twitter and wanted to jump in and give my thoughts on it, because I really like this game. I love this game. It's created many, many friendships for me with people, and it's always kind of been that game where it's like everyone's always down for some Siege. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I don't know. Just like the video, dislike it. I don't even know if likes and dislikes even do anything. So maybe it's a YouTube urban legend that they actually do stuff. But I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer. I suck just as bad as you do at video games, and I'll see you guys in the next one.